We're testing 1 2 1 2. Perfect.
I look like American flag with the microphone.
Blue one if you want a blue one.
There we go.
Usually I give the red one for the hot seat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
Look like an American flag.
all right, you're fine then.
I'm patriotic, but not that much.
All right, welcome to the company where we have good company at the company. Today we have co-host Anthony Smit.
How you doing? How you guys doing?
Cool. Thank you for being here today and everything else. Thank you for being co-host.
Absolutely. Appreciate you asking me for sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And
excited to have a look.
today is a special treat too because I have him introducing the host today. So you want to introduce our guest?
Absolutely. Today we have, okay. This is my first time, but we got it.
We got him on his notes.
Our guest today, her name is Alicia, a multi-talented individual with a unique set of skills. She's dedicated her life to nurturing both the body and soul as a compassionate nurse, inspiring yoga teacher, fun-filled custom menswear stylist, and transformative dating coach.
Alicia, thank you for coming here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Sorry.
That's great. We had the intro prepared. I was trying to, spice it up today a little bit. I mean, this is my third time behind the camera,
I like it.
trying to
All
be
right.
more, spontaneous and then having more conversation and everything else.
Cool.
He does it all. Front of the camera, behind the camera.
He does all the things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all the things.
Threat guy. All the things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, welcome here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I know we've seen you around here. We met a couple times. Actually, once we had it once here. Thanks to Akash for the spot today. We're here at the Union Lounge here in Old Sac.
Thank you for this amazing facility.
Beautiful
Yes.
place. Beautiful place.
Yeah, so how's this dating world? How's this man society or this masculinity world? Or is it more of a toxic world or like a healthy world out here in the United States?
I can't compare the U.S. to anywhere else, so I don't know. And even within the states, there are so many different dynamics and cultural dynamics that exist because our country is so freaking huge that, you go to the East Coast, the dating norms are completely different than over here. What people value, though, I think is probably the same. It just might be more of an emphasis in certain ways, and how people approach it is different.
Mm-hmm.
So here, culturally in California, we're much more easygoing about things. We're much more loose, and I use that term loosely.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bar.
Where we'll say kind of whatever comes to our mind. There's not less of a filter, whereas the cultural norms, like say in the Midwest, are much more conservative.
Yes.
What is the norm there is not here. So there are differences, but I don't know whether or not to say it's toxic or not. I can't say that it's any more toxic or any less than it was in the 1920s. I think that there are just differences.
Yeah.
Better in some ways, maybe worse in others. It just depends on how you look at it. I think that we are in a place right now where humanity as a whole is really doing a lot of self-reflection and evaluation, and I think that is really a beautiful thing.
No, that's really, really connecting because right now in this age of like social media, internet, we're coming into like the first, people have connection to everyone and everything else, and then seeing these connections. Because there was a study, I was seeing how they did a study with, I don't know if you've seen the study with the mice, the rats they did, how they took away, it's over 300 mice, and they had about a study of taking all the way the survival principles. Everyone had food, shelters, and everything else, and how the male rats became lazy and the women rats became more beautification, so they were very more picky. And they said within the couple years, the society collapsed because the women were so selective of who they picked, and the men didn't want to deal with it anymore.
That's what's happening.
And it was collapsing the whole ecosystem. And they did the trial, I think they said like 3 to 5 times, I think it was.
Yep.
And the same thing repeated. So I was saying like how biologically versus us being just natural humans, or like is our biological perspectives different than our open-mindedness in a different way? Because as we grow, people's perspectives of the things, like we don't have that survival or that, gut that we need to reproduce.
Yeah.
Or just like
procreate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do think that there's an element of that where we don't have to do XYZ to survive. So our survival instinct is different. However, it's still wired in our brains. Why do women go after taller, bigger men? It's because of a safety thing. And it's wired in their subconscious. It's not something that we even are aware of. I personally, I'm a tall woman and I like wearing heels. So I don't want to be taller than my partner. And that's okay. That's my own preference. It doesn't mean that it's, stereotypical or anything like that. It just is what your personal preference is. But there are things that are hardwired into us that is biology. I mean, it is how we are designed. And I do think that because we don't have those we don't have the need to survive in the same way, the game has changed in a sense. Because we have it, we're so blessed in this country. We're so blessed to have so much handed to us. Even the poorest are richer than the majority of other countries in the world.
Pretty much, yeah.
So when you think about that, we have become lazy in a lot of ways. We have food like access 24/7. That's not the same in other countries. We have access to viewing TV, which a lot of other countries still don't have because a lot of them still don't even have electricity.
Right.
I did a mission trip to Africa where I saw this, and the cultural difference was astronomical. It was like going back in time several hundred years. I mean, it was bizarre to watch.
Like a few things like you saw that you can maybe just say or...
One of the things was that they didn't realize that there were Black people or African Americans in the States. Like they thought everyone looked like me. Right. So when I was around the kids, we were congregating at a well, and I took out my hair and they started pulling on my hair and touching my skin. And because they had never touched someone with my skin color. And then
really?
they had no access. I was working with South Sudanese, and South Sudanese were they're refugees. They had no access to the outside world. So they had no idea that our country was so diverse. I mean, we have every color, and we're so blessed to be able to see that as a norm. Right. Because it's normalized here, whereas we're defined by our skin color. And it's not a racial thing. It's that's just what they see. When we're different from what they have on a regular basis. So it really was such a magical experience to be touched all over by these little children who I was probably the first white person that they talked to or touched,
It's like a culture shock for both.
Oh my God, it was, but it was so cool. I remember sitting there, I was going, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the coolest experience of my life. Like to be able to have that and to be able to watch through these kids just to discover something new. And they had no meaning of it other than it was, a novelty for them. And it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just that story just reminded me because we had a buddy who came from Nigeria in middle school, and the things he's like had here, or like technology wise, he's like shocked about everything.
Yes.
Because he's like, dude, I never thought about this. And then my buddy who played for Fresno State, his family thinks he's rich because he plays out here. He has a job out here.
Yeah.
So they expect him to send him money, but he's like, I'm just like minimum wage out here.
And the dynamics between men and women are different there. It's very, very traditional. Women wear skirts. They do not. So over there, legs are highly sexualized, whereas here it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
and whereas breasts are not like they're just they function. They're functional. So you'll see women breastfeeding out in the open, and it's not the same connotation that it is here. It's not sexualized, whereas legs are highly sexualized. So this would be very sexual in Africa.
Do you see the cultural difference as like the survival instinct from people over there, probably, doing the daily things to get food?
Yes, correct.
To do everything
else. That's their focus. So they don't actually focus on how we can change and grow and become better. Whereas here we have the luxury of doing that. Yeah. And it's such we don't think about it that way. And I kind of live by the motto of, if you are afforded the luxury of being able to self-evaluate, oh my gosh, if you're not doing it, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, my other co-host or my partner for the company, Josh, he's from Jamaica, and he grew up as a young age seeing the difference, and then moving to New York and seeing the culture shocking of like, dude, I used to walk a mile to get water.
Yeah.
and they come back and bring it here.
I hold a lot of water when I was there.
Yeah, my cousins, some of my cousins from Tonga is like another third world country too.
Yeah.
And he said if you have a shower, you're considered rich.
Yep.
And it's just a spigot water
Yep.
falling on you.
See that on like Airbnbs and stuff, and it's like just even what you said, it's like how you said even with your outfit today, you're getting dressed this morning thinking, you know what I mean, you about to slay today, like you know you got a great outfit on, and then but it's like you think about it over there, and it's like they can't even imagine like putting stuff like this on, so
they don't have choices. They put on what they have. Yeah.
Wow.
So it definitely causes a lot of gratitude. So, and I live in that space every single day. So, and I really try to, that is a big part of what I do, is really focusing on what do we have to be grateful for, and then expounding on that, creating more of that in your life, because everyone is attracted to someone who is gracious and who is thankful. So, yeah.
That's a good start off and everything else. Also talk a little bit more, since we went and jumped in. I was trying to break the ice. But let's talk a little bit more about yourself, how you started, what you started creating, and what you want to do with your coaching and everything else.
So one of my biggest motivators for becoming, so I'm a men's dating and relationship coach. And when people hear it, it's like, oh, I have so many questions.
I think one hitch first. Like, okay, I got questions.
They're like, oh, you're a female hitch. Well, first of all, I have to clarify, I'm not a matchmaker. I don't put people together.
Oh.
My motto is you have to be the person that the person you're looking for is looking for.
I have told somebody that, like, if you want somebody who hikes a lot, and go hike and go find that person. Right. If you want a nice guy who doesn't, do things or like do anything else, don't go to the clubs and find that guy.
Yep.
Because those guys, they're just there to have fun.
Yep. Yeah.
So like always,
we attract what we are, what we're doing, how we live our lives. We attract that, not necessarily what we want.
But I feel like those people who want to attract those people are not the same people that you've kind of visioned for. You know what I mean?
True.
When you go to like an art museum, you don't only see those handsome dashes guys out there. You see some arty people, or
But it's just they're there. It's just dependent. Like you got to.
If you find
I go to an art gallery,
if you find 1 out of the 10, then you better hop on that real fast.
I always say I'm a unicorn, and so whoever my future partner is also a unicorn. So I know if I exist, he exists.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
We think in terms of limiting.
Yep.
Most people by default have very limiting thoughts. That's not how I operate. I really focus on the the positives, because energy doesn't really understand the negatives.
Yes.
And what caused me to get there is my own pain. And really working through that, pausing, I think that's the biggest thing that I probably do, is we pause. Okay, where is the pain at? What caused it? Then you evaluate, what role did I have to play? Because if you want to, it is only when you assume responsibility for the situation that you have the power to change it.
Yes.
If you go through your entire life blaming everyone else, the situation, society, your partner, whatever it is, you're powerless to change it. And you will be a victim your entire life. When you are choosing that status, you can choose to be a victor. You just have to do the work to do it. So I help facilitate that work, because I know what a huge difference it's made in my own life. I am not the same person that I was even 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And I'm so grateful for that. And so I really what my goal is really to help facilitate that in the men that I work with.
Yes.
And it's whole body. When I say like mind, body, spirit, it is your look will upgrade. We work with your deep-seated issues about what is causing you to attract a particular type of woman that is not serving you, meaning not serving you as a man, but not serving your greatest good. And what is the wounding inside of you that needs to be healed? I have a huge network of people that I also, refer to, whether it's if you need everything from Botox to getting your hair redone to upgrading your style. I do custom menswear. So I design, wardrobe pieces for them. We work on basic things like tactics of how to approach a woman. And again, like the deeper psychological issues of, maybe reframing something that happened to you in the past so you can understand someone else's perspectives. I'll evaluate text threads from people. They'll say, okay, what the heck does she mean by this? and I'll interpret it, and then we'll go through and talk about it. And then what's the best way to respond.
So you're a therapist too, if you're...
Oh, yeah.
Yep. You dig deep. You get in there.
And I do most everything through questioning. That's probably the biggest thing is we open up a conversation. Men typically will approach me. Either they want to they're frustrated in the dating world and they're like, I don't want to, do this anymore.
Right.
Like I call my specialty getting men out of the spin cycle. And the spin cycle is where you're dating the same woman over and over and over again, just with different faces.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
I know some people who do that.
A lot of people do that. They'll have 5 divorces under their belt and they're like, I'm not the problem.
Yeah. You've been a part of 5 of them. You might be some of the problem, if not.
And it's not even necessarily that it's a problem. It's like, okay, what do we need to do to change our point of attraction?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Where's the pattern?
Yeah.
And so the conversation will start where I identify patterns. I'll start asking probing questions. Okay, what happened here? Can you elaborate on that? And then from that, I can usually derive where the patterns of behavior are. And patterns of behavior are the most revealing thing about a person, because you can understand when you see that pattern in someone, you can understand why they're doing it. That's where you can dig in, and that's when you can get to the more deep-seated issues that are causing it, because a lot of it is subconscious. So much of what we do on a daily basis is subconscious.
Absolutely.
And so it's not actually conscious that people are doing it. And so what I do is I get them to be conscious of the goal that they're trying to achieve, and then what is hindering them from achieving that goal.
Do you have any examples of like the patterns you're saying that you kind of like when you're talking to the people, when you're talking to the guys, can you give a couple examples of like when you say pattern, do you mean like when it gets to this certain point in the relationship, they go this way, or like...
Well, they go to certain, like, repeating the cycle, and then, like you said, the guy who has 5 divorces,
Yeah.
to a certain point, and then there's a point where he repeats the same thing he did in the last one. Like,
A lot of times it has to do with their relationship with their parents.
yeah, I can see that.
You're digging deep. This is gonna be good. You're digging deep.
Yeah.
It's true, though. Even what a person is attracted to, whether they're attracted to, big butts, small boobs, or if they want someone who's very petite, it has to do with their relationship, usually with their mom, or it has to do with how the dynamic was with their father. You have to dig in. Everyone's different. I had one client recently who his dad left him at a fairly young age, and I said, how did that affect you? And he goes, well, I feel like I've worked through it. But when we actually dug deeper, there were some things that he overcompensates now with his kids to really be there. And so she knows and so the arguments between his now ex, she knows how to trigger him saying, well, you're a bad dad, when he does anything and everything. So he becomes reactive to that because he wants to be there. I mean, it's well intended. But he wants to be there. He doesn't want to be what his dad was. So now he overcompensates, and it becomes a trigger for him, something that he becomes defensive for, instead of saying, I'm going to leave that there. And so it just became a spiral effect inside their relationship. So when you identify what your triggers are your roadmap to your soul. They really are. That is your roadmap to where you need to heal. Because if you're triggered by something, that is something that is unhealed within you. And I see it over and over and over again. Whatever it is that is triggering you, whether it's a man looking at your woman, whether it's she's showing too much skin, whether she's behaving, doesn't mean that you're not affected by anything. You can still have preferences. That's totally fine. But does it cause how do you address it? If it causes you to become riled up and you're like, that's not okay, and you're not willing to actually talk about it and hold a conversation about it, that's a big red flag to you to say, okay, why is this triggering me? What do I need to work through? And I used to be like that, where something would happen and I would immediately go from 0 to 60 and be like, why is my voice raising? Well, it was a habit that I had developed because we had a very loud family. I'm a loud person. Anyone who knows me knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to go back, reevaluate, say, why was I doing this? What is it that caused me? And now, instead of being reactive, I pause and I respond. Or I don't. I let it be, and then I respond later. I'm much more conscious of what I do. I mean, I'm human, right? Wait,
Uh-oh. Somebody's playing music in the background.
Uh-oh.
No, we're still good. It doesn't pick up.
Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, that's a big part of what I do is I do go deep.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I'm going to have some vibes in the background. I don't know. I don't think it's picking up on
No, but I can hear it.
Yeah. I mean, it's throwing you off?
Yeah. This is where my ADD.
Oh, there it goes. Let me,
Maybe do you want to run over and, yeah.
we'll take a 5. Okay, we're back. Testing 1 2 1 2
1 2 testing.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had that problem too, and I've kind of realized because I have a emotional shutdown, I guess. Growing up, so people talk emotionally to me, or it's like I just like.
We're about
quiet.
to
I don't know how to
dig deep. Hold on, because I got some. Yeah, because
so I've been learning that this year, and then that's why I've been trying to like throw this so I can try to communicate more and talk more and try to be open and try to not have that. Because usually I just become a robot, and then.
But that's not. What's the reward of?
Oh damn! She's going deep in there. She's asking questions.
We need this. Oh, hold on.
I can't do superficial talk. That's not how I roll. I'm like, let's talk about aliens. Something weird. Right?
As you said, I was reading a lot of because going through. I've been looking at a lot of therapy stuff and everything else, and I've been looking at studies how people's connections and relationships reflect on their parents. And depending on how the parents' relationship was, you're ever going to be a reflected images.
Because it's normalized for you. And subconsciously, we always go towards what we're familiar with. So it's just how we're wired because we know how to navigate it. When you are seeking something that's unfamiliar to you, even if it's not, even if it's healthier, your subconscious doesn't necessarily want you to do that because you have to learn a completely new way of navigating it.
But then I see my brothers are like very talkative and thing, and now probably
you also may have a different personality, and that's okay. And everyone's different. So what I do when I'm working with someone is I have them go through and do a couple different evaluations. I want to know their personality type. I want to know their attachment style.
Right.
I want to know their love languages because that helps me understand them as a person. And most guys don't ever do this self-evaluation. So if you don't know yourself, how can you get to know someone else?
Yeah.
How do you know what it is that you want and don't want? You have to know yourself. And so a big part of what I do is really helping the man to achieve a really deep-rooted understanding of who he is, what his desires are, where does he want to go in his life, what is his purpose?
Yeah.
Because when you find your purpose, you find your person.
Oh yeah.
I gotta get that tatted on me or something. That was crazy. That was amazing.
Okay.
No, I love that. No, because going to what you said, I had like a lack of a father figure in my life. I didn't let it affect me, but I saw myself going to like hang out with friends who have their mom and dad in there because I just never seen that. So like I'd always like, I go hang out with my boy and his dad all the time. Like that's where I get, but I definitely, when you said the gentleman you were working with, he overdoes it with the kids. Like,
yeah,
I heard that.
He's a very involved dad now, and which is wonderful. Right. That's wonderful. Parents also teach you what you want and what you don't want, and you can change it and when you can evolve.
Yeah.
But because of that, his ex knows that that's a trigger, and so that becomes a point of attack versus stopping. And it's really hard when you're in that moment and they know how to get you, and you stop and you choose not to respond. Or respond with saying, I'm sorry you feel that way. XYZ, this is what I'm doing. And you stick to the facts. Oh, that drives people nuts. But knowing how to do that. And when you get that point, when your locus of control is yourself, any conflict you're in, regardless of if with a friend or someone of the opposite sex or whatever it is, any conflict you're in, I can control my own behavior. You can literally orchestrate the conversation. You can't control anyone else. You can never control anyone else. You can't control your environment all the time, but you can control how I choose to react or respond. Or do I not? How do I engage? And that is so powerful when you actually feel like I can solicit a different response from this person because I can control how I behave. It's a game changer.
I agree because I have family members who they know the situation with my dad, and it's like, they'll always be like, kind of like what you said, they know the trigger. So it's like, oh, you're going to be just like your dad.
Yeah.
And then they know that'll
That's
wind
just a sword.
Yeah.
But that's an unhealed person who does that. What most people do is, there's a book called The Four Agreements, and it is one of the best, isn't it? It's a phenomenal book. And one of it is don't take anything personally. And what most people do is a reflection of them, not you. So a lot of men are terrified of rejection. So like if they go up to, they're like, I don't want to go and approach a woman at a restaurant or something like that because I'm afraid of rejection. And I said, well, what if you reframed it and said, you're just starting a conversation. How she chooses to respond is based upon her own experience, right? Like she could have a background of trauma that could be threatening to her. She could just not be interested. She could be, she could be a lesbian. She could be, there's a whole myriad of reasons that you have never thought about. She might just be getting out of a relationship and not interested in dating.
Yeah.
Has absolutely nothing to do with you. So if you shoot your shot and she's not receptive, who cares?
Yeah, move on.
Move on.
Right.
I mean, there's more women in the United States than men, so.
Accurate. Interestingly enough, though, I think it's 60 or 70% of the men are on Tinder, are 60% of the population on Tinder are men.
Yep.
60 or 70. So predominantly dating apps are men,
Yes.
not women.
I want to ask you, because I do have a question about just the dating app scene and all of that. Like, what's your take on it? Because me personally, it's what you guys were talking about earlier, where it was like, well, men kind of don't have to go out and do the work anymore because now I can just sit there on my phone, swipe. And I think that takes away from me. If I walk outside right now and I see someone that catches my eye, I would want to, oh my gosh, what's your name? But usually people now, I don't even want to interact anymore. Oh, I saw her on that dating app. I'll just swipe right later. Do you think...
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
A lot of people do think like that.
Do you think what do you think dating apps have done to the scene? Is it too much? Is it too... Well, I think it's really a lot, but I love how your words will change and unlock a whole new perspective. So I'm ready, because I have friends who they do so well on these dating apps, but I don't do well on them. Because I love the in-person interaction. And I have to hear how, if how we're speaking right now, I can hear her voice. And
Sure, you hear intonation and body language and
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, she's responding. She, okay, I can keep going. Not even on some I have further objectives, but just even just off first meet. Hey, do you think dating apps?
Well, so dating apps don't show charisma unless you really purpose yourself to show that. I think it's really important this is where guys kind of, I feel like, lack, is they don't actually show decent pictures that show what their life are. Like, what are your interests? It's just one selfie in a bathroom with a toilet seat up. Like, really?
With the shirt off, trying to show the abs.
I'm just really, it's funny because, so I will, and that's another thing that I do as well, is I will go through their dating profile and say, okay, we need to get a couple pictures of you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have a power pose with you in a suit or some sort of outfit that is well presenting. Have you doing something that you're into? Do you everybody likes fishing apparently, because majority of guys are holding a fish. Do you actually like hiking?
They're pretty white.
Do you not like hiking? Because everyone says that they like hiking when they don't actually like hiking. The last time they went on a hike was 2 years ago. Do you like boating? Like, for instance, if I were to do a profile, I would do a picture of me wakeboarding because I wakeboard. That's something I really enjoy. Are you more of an introvert? Do you read? Do you study? Things that reflect that. Or they'll say, I'm just an easygoing guy. Okay, you're saying the same basic stuff you have to set yourself apart from every other guy that's there. And that's where I come in, is I can say, how is a way that we can formulate this statement so that way it sets you apart from every other basic dude that's out there?
Yeah, because there was a study on the Tinder thing. For every 100 guy who swipes 100 times, he gets one reply. But if a girl swipes, I think it's 2, it's automatically matched.
Almost always.
Yeah, it's always. It's like a 2 swipe, a swipe.
It is
and it just shows what are you going to make or what are you going to present yourself that's going to be different than the other fishes in the sea. Because I tell people this all the time, women have control of the desire, everything else, what they want.
Women control women are the gatekeepers to sex. Men are the gatekeepers to relationships.
Yes. Yeah, for marriage,
Yes.
If you want somebody to find right, you need to find a nice guy because
Well, it's what you
Not a
said.
nice guy. Not a nice guy.
We're gonna get there. I got that question. Hold on, because it's what you said with like the mice and stuff earlier. It's like, well, I see, and that's what I was talking to you about with the dating apps. I see I don't have to work as hard anymore. I see I don't have to try as hard, and like you said, now we'll just do the suit up top and be in sweats in the bottom. Like you don't have to really go out and try and do it because
That's the COVID special.
COVID special.
that's that Zoom meeting special over 2020. But
So you're saying like find a decent guy or just a great guy or just a guy in general? Or about you say not nice guy?
I mean, nice is androgynous. It's boring.
It's boring.
Nobody, because
what word was that?
Androgynous.
meaning it just goes. A nice guy is very basic. Like, there's no interest there.
You mean just
And
too simple?
too simple, and also they blend in with everyone else. So how do you differentiate this man from everyone else? How do you trust a man who is basic, who has nothing to offer you as far as protection, as a provider? That's why I say I do maintain the idea that nice guys finish last because they are passive, and a woman has to be in her masculine to attract a nice guy versus a man who is in his masculine will attract a feminine woman. And it has to do with trust. If you are passive and you allow a woman to rule the roost and you're just, whatever you want, blah, 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 it may be that you don't have a preference, but you're not acting as the leader then.
You should not show that.
You do not. And so you are not establishing trust in your partner as if you were a nice guy, if you're the passive. That is not the role of the man. The man is to be the leader. That's how we are wired. I don't care what modern day dating says. It is how we are wired. And it's okay to have these roles. It's not a bad thing. And we see it as a bad because we've been fed this lie that men and women are equal. They're equal value, but different.
Mm-hmm.
Value doesn't necessarily mean that the roles are equal, and they shouldn't be.
Right.
I don't want someone else like me. Like, that would just be a shit show.
It'd be a mirror.
I mean,
You're
it
talking
would
to
be.
yourself.
It would be terrible. I need someone who's going to be my complement, not my equal.
Yeah.
Is that where that part comes into opposites attract? Because
Sometimes.
yeah,
Sometimes, yeah.
you
need the yin and yang.
I'm the loud, funny. You've seen me. I'll bounce off the wall everywhere. But I love,
Especially on the news.
yeah. Kings made playoffs. I went crazy. I was downtown.
Yeah, he was downtown, went away.
I can see all that.
He was on the news, on the front of the news. Everyone was like, what the heck, Smit?
Now, all that being said, I love, the quiet type. I don't know why, but I know that, I'm the quote comedian of the relationship.
Yeah.
I would love to, I tried to date a comedian girl. Actually, I went on a date a few months with a girl who was like a comedian type, and we was just trying to outdo each other the whole time with jokes. And I was like, this isn't it.
Woman, not to compete.
Right.
It can't compete. And what happens if you're two quiet people? That's boring.
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to say?
Exactly.
They're just going to sit next to each other and read.
The goal of relationships, like the root word of relationships, like what I was saying earlier, is to relate.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that there's a cyclical thing that happens.
Right.
And our job as a partner is, I want to bring out the best in you because I'm going to trust that you're going to bring out the best in me. And you can't do that with someone who is synonymous with you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it with someone who is different, who's going to say, I'm going to offer you a different perspective. And that's why, and really, women want to, I am hesitant to use this word, but a woman who is in her feminine wants to vanish into a man, into his masculine, meaning that we want to trust and surrender. We want to do that. I'm a very strong woman. I operate a company. I have to rule when I am operating as a nurse. I lead as a yoga teacher, but I know when to submit, and I will submit when there's trust. If I do not trust a man, I will take over the leadership role because I trust myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that comes in. And that's why I really, really encourage men to be a man who's worthy of that trust. That's what it means to be a high value man.
She talking, hold on.
Damn, I got to be high value.
Yeah. I need to go home and make sure I check these boxes of high value. But before we get just too far, I do want, because this is going to be a topic I would love to to my group chat and stuff like that. Because when you say nice guys finish last, what is your, like, I know you said earlier boring and stuff like that and like passive and stuff like that, but when especially because if you guys have been hearing, her words have been unlocking perspectives. So
that's a good way of saying it. I like that.
when you hear a man say, oh, nice guys finish last, what do you think when you hear that? Because, you know, when I see people saying that, I'm thinking like, oh, because nice is, you know, you're not just laying down and just, you know, saying yes to.
Oh, you're asking what I think about what is a nice guy?
Yeah, and when you hear men say, oh, nice guys finish last, like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I think that they subscribe to what has been sold as far as like independent women and blah, blah, blah. I'll ask this. Is it better to be a warrior in a garden or a gardener in a war?
Have you heard that one?
I have not, so I just need you to say it one more time because I have not heard that. Hold on.
Is it better to be a warrior in a garden or a gardener in a war?
Probably the warrior
in the garden
that's had so many battles. Now he left just playing.
Yeah.
It's my favorite quote.
But damn, I never heard it.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
And what it does is it says a true warrior is one who is controlled.
Yep.
They are grounded. They know when and where to make decisions. And it all boils down to trust. Nice guys are not trustworthy because they cannot make their own decisions. Because they cannot assume, and that's why they don't generally do as well in careers, in dating. It's because they're not
neutral,
trustworthy.
Right? They're just,
yes.
They go with the flow and everything else.
If I come and I assert myself in a particular way and I say, hi, I'm so-and-so, you're automatically going to trust me because I am confident in who I am and what I have to offer. It instills trust. Everything boils down to trust.
Absolutely.
And establishing trust. And if you do not have trust in a relationship, you do not have respect. If you do not have a respect, you cannot have a relationship. Mm-hmm. You cannot love. And that they say that women need love. That's true, but they also need respect and vice versa. There's a book called Love and Respect that really talks about the cyclical effect that happens in long-term relationships where men feel disrespected and so they don't show love. They withhold their love and their affection from their partner. And women in turn stop respecting them and stop valuing them. And so it becomes a cyclical thing that happens, and that happens so frequently.
Right.
So the man it is so imperative that the man knows how to have respectable behavior and then hold their woman to a standard in a very healthy way. And you will foster, a woman will, I don't know any other way of saying this, perform to what you require. Most women are service oriented. We want to serve our partner. I do. And and I have no qualms with saying that. I do want to serve my partner. It doesn't make me less than them. Right. It makes me wanting to love my partner. And that's how they need to be loved.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're saying that, so I was just saying, like, from now perspective, from, you know, compared to the, you know, 1800s where those two pairs were different because of I feel like now generations, since they said most marriages only last up to 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, they call it the 7-year itch.
Yeah, 7-year itch. And then what are the two differences? Because is it more like a traditional, I'm here for my family, I protect my family, girls show submissive just like in third world countries, because I think it's almost the same aspect in a different way? Or is it because we had this more vast freedom of just like, oh, anyone can do anything perspective wise? You see what I'm saying?
So I grew up with the idea that a woman could do anything and be anything. And I still believe that.
Absolutely.
I don't think that a woman can't be a pilot or, you know, really. I'm not a huge fan of women on the front lines, only because what happens if ideally it's sure, yeah, they can do it. But what happens if they get captured? There's a lot more things that can happen. There's a whole host of repercussions that occur that we don't necessarily think about in the average, you know. But as far as like careers or anything like that, there's really not a lot that women can't do on par with men. And sometimes they can even do it better because of how they multitask and critically think a little bit differently.
we need both. But that's the thing is, it's not one versus the other, it's both. And that's really what Navigating Venus, which is my company name,
is all about, is facilitating conversation between both sexes. How do we become better for the other person? How do we become better to be leaders in our own group? I work primarily with men because I love being able to facilitate the navigation of the opposite sex, because they're a reflection back to you of, as a man, of, okay, if I'm attracting this type of woman, what is it that I need to heal? What is it that I need to work on? How do I need to be better? Because that's what relationships are designed to do. They're designed to teach you evolution and growth.
Damn, I'm learning so much.
I'm gonna watch.
You get married in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, you got me ready.
I'm about to go in.
Maybe I've been going about things wrong. Maybe I want to ask you.
No, go ahead.
No, you were about to say something.
I was going to say, most of us, it's not about right or wrong. And it's interesting. I have a client who says, is that good or bad? It's neither. It's, what is it that you value? What is it that you desire? And where are your core values? Is it in alignment with that? There's not necessarily good or bad. And we need to get out of that framework of this is good, this is bad, and stop placing a moral value on things instead of saying, is this serving my highest good? And your highest good will always, always, always be the best for humanity.
Oh, damn. I mean, that's what I try to build the company about, is building a foundation and trust before we do business.
Yeah.
Because most businesses are like, oh, I'm here to scratch your back, and you scratch my back.
Yep.
But I want to build that relationship first and that trust, so then I can help you just freely. If I can't help you, I have somebody one of my connections that can help and provide for you. So that's why I try to build the company, to highlight everyone and to show connections and then build the relationship before we do business on the side.
Yep.
Because then it builds that trust for everyone. Because I had some bad deals in the past.
Asian cultures, they do that.
Yeah.
They don't talk business until they play golf or do something else to where they establish the relationship, because they want to study the mannerisms of what the person is like. And you can learn so much from that. And here we go straight to business.
Yeah, because me and my aunt, with the status, every person we meet and everything else, we go out to eat dinner, and next thing you know, our dinner becomes a 2-hour dinner, and next thing you know, we're at the bar for another 3 hours, and next thing you know, we're home at 2 a.m. And then they just fall in love with us.
Those are the best nights.
And
I love that.
We create that vibe where now that trust and that bond, we're like family now.
Yep.
And that's what we're trying to create and trying to mimic and trying to push out there.
I
So
love that. What I wanted to ask was, what's one thing when you do when you're coaching the potential suitors for these relationships, whether you do men and women?
I do relationships. I haven't gotten into coaching women. I tend to think very logically. Why it started is because there was one day where I had 4 of my guy friends all call me or text me being like, I need help. And so I would either evaluate their texts or walk them through whatever it was that they were going through, whether it be a breakup or they're having an issue with their partner. And I was like, why? I'm good at this. Why did I not do this professionally? So that's when and a lot of it was based on my own self-study, but then I really studied how to become a coach. I started going through different training and stuff like that in order to be able to actually operate as a coach instead of just a friend.
Friend being assistant.
What's a common thing you hear that men bring to you about their issues, or is there maybe 1 or 2 common things you've seen through multiple men asking you, I guess I would say, what common things have you saw in the men you've helped that they need kind of the most work on? I guess I would say.
All of the guys I've coached are so different from each other. A lot of them are previous nice guys, to where we work on them understanding why they need to establish themselves as a trustworthy man.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that we work through, because a lot of them are more passive and they're like, why am I not getting anywhere? And so sometimes we just need to revamp their wardrobe and change their look a little bit. And then they actually step into a more of a confident man because we have given them the ability to look the way they should be feeling.
Absolutely.
So they'll step into it. That's why I say I think how you show up, how you appear, your body language, your clothing choices, all of that matters. It matters because that is the first thing, that's your calling card. That's the first thing that people notice about you, which is why. So initially I didn't start out as a stylist, even though I went to school for it years ago. But I added that on because I quickly realized most of the guys that were coming to me, they didn't have a partner to help them dress to know what looked good. And so they'd go shopping at Kohl's, which no, not hitting,
Not missing nobody.
nothing negative about Kohl's. It just, they would go there and get whatever it is that they wanted, or they'd go to JCPenney's and just grab a couple things, didn't know whether or not it fit them appropriately, how to actually dress for their body shape. So that's where I come in, is I actually will design pieces for them that interchange with each other, and it actually fits their body because it's custom. It's not made until they order it, and it's made based off of like 27 different measurements that we do. And then they get to pick the fabric, and it's actually fun. It actually is collaborative and fun. Sometimes guys will say, I don't really care, just do it, I trust you, and then they like it.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Yeah.
FYI, I'm getting a shirt, so I will model it on here.
and eventually a suit.
And eventually a suit.
You guys better keep your eye out on her, please.
Yeah, if you want to help fund my suit, my Venmo and Cash App is on there.
No, I'm not serious to that.
Yeah. Oh, did we answer your question?
Well, you said they're all different, so I guess you
They
can't
are all
really.
different. I wouldn't
can't
say
really
that there's a
pick-
commonality. I think
I
that
feel like, because you saying like they're different because everyone has their different, like how you said, their race, so they have their personal different issues or different conflicts that each of them don't have. So you come in because you have everyone's idea, perspective of everyone, and then that's how you became, a coach, advisor, relationship helper. I know how many
all of
titles.
the things,
How would you title this again?
coach is different than a therapist because we do a lot of questioning.
Yep.
And it's more of like a guide.
Mm.
And we guide and facilitate. That's the best way of
So
saying.
you're saying you're like a coach therapist, a coaching therapist?
Because you
in a way.
do it all.
I do some therapy, but I'm not a therapist. Whereas a therapist will they go really, really deep into the past. I need to know the connections. So that way we can address that and then work through that.
So you go just to the wound, but not flesh deep.
We do flesh deep, just not. I mean, we didn't, because you have to be able to address that. And like I've had men cry. I've had men, have like, they'll have a aha moment later, and I love it. That's honestly the best thing. The best thing is when I see a guy go, I get it. Or they'll text me being like, I never saw it that way. Or I have this much confidence. I mean, it's getting those texts, I'm telling you, it is what fuels every aspect about every single one of my day. It's not about necessarily what I do. It's about being a part of their journey. And it's such a huge blessing. And honestly, like when I say I'm grateful, I am so grateful that men trust me in this way.
I mean, you're very opening, easy to talk to, and everything else. That's what I think they're like very out there. I mean, especially the night when we officially met at Tasha's place.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, hey, how are you doing?
That's who I am. Yeah. And
She had your aura right, and you had a good aura.
And, I mean, she did text me. She's like, oh, so you're a Sag? And then I was like, oh, what does that
I want to
mean?
talk about that soon, but because I want to know what your energy is like towards, because that's a thing right now.
Oh, it's definitely a thing. And I actually believe, and it's funny because
Do you believe in it or?
so I actually do, and that's definitely more of a
more of a moral compass. Because I tell people, are they using it as a moral compass or as like
Like a guide.
It is. I do think it's meant to be a guide. I think there's so much that we are discovering now about astrology that we didn't really understand before. But if you really go through, so for instance, I was raised Christian, and you go through biblical text, like what were the three wise men going after? What did they study? They were astrologers. So, we can go into a whole philosophical aspect and hold like topics on religion and all that, but that's a whole other episode. You're right. But one of the things that I do think it does play a role. Now, we still have free will. We still have conscious choice. And so, and really women focus on this way more than men. Men don't really care. But I like to know their birth date. Like my clients, I ask them what their birth dates are. And so that way I can understand what zodiac sign they are, just to kind of understand basic traits. It's just it's a data point. That's it. That's all it should be. It shouldn't be a guide to, yes, I can date this person. No, I can't. No, that's not. That tells you absolutely nothing other than these might be some of the traits that they exhibit. This might be one of their priorities. That's all. It's just a data point. And everything is, and if you start to actually look at things as, that's a data point. Okay, I can observe that. It's not my job to place a judgment call on it. It's just my job to observe it and to understand it.
I try and have fun.
I like that perspective. I like the perspective way better than the people who are like gung-ho on it.
Yeah, but that's their cause.
Yeah.
See, the problem is that this is what happens is that because we don't have to survive, we try and pick up a cause that matters to us. And so then when we pick up that cause that matters to us, that resonates with us, we try and push it on everyone else. That's why you have the really strong, and this is not a diss on anybody, just
like
to be clear.
Same thing with like religion too, right?
Same thing. It's like the really strong NRA people are like, I want my guns and da-da-da-da. And again, I'm not saying anything bad about them. Or you have the peace people that are like, let's coexist and eat granola and da-da-da-da. And I'm talking about two totally different extremes here, right? But they want to, you have the people in either extreme trying to press their beliefs on everyone. And so that's how a lot of people operate, because they don't actually have to survive. They try and pick up a cause because we all need to feel alive. Mm-hmm. And that gives them a feeling and a purpose of being alive. But is it really true to them? Sometimes it might be.
Yeah.
But is it though?
I'm
because we want to feel purposeful.
Right.
No, I see that now. I feel like you telling me that is like more of a perspective on, because I'm a gun-ho guy, but I'm seeing like how you're saying like it's basically giving them purpose, and you don't want to, don't be rude about it, just like trying to meet in the middle or somewhere to have a good conversation, and then maybe you could change their perspective, or they could change my perspective on everything. One
of my favorite yoga teachers at Eastwind Yoga, I love that place, Scott, he says, be in the middle.
Yeah, always be in the middle.
Be the observer. And one of the books that I really encourage all of my clients to read is called Untethered Soul. And it's about allowing you yourself, your soul, to take a step back and say, I don't need to pick up either side. I'm going to observe and then see what resonates with me. Mm-hmm. And then I can make a conscious choice about what my soul actually wants. Because most of the time we're just running in the direction that we were either taught, or we're running away from something.
The one you were taught from. Some people go opposite, or something goes with it. Yep.
Instead of actually pausing, saying, what resonates with my spirit? Mm-hmm. Because we all have, I don't care what anyone says, even atheists, we still have something inside of us that drives us, right? And you can call it spirit, soul, self, whatever it is that you want to call it. There is an energy that's there, because the energy goes away when we pass away or transition, or however you want to call it. So you have to find out what resonates with you.
I love that whole part. What I want to ask you is you personally, because I'm a Capricorn.
Okay, Capricorn.
I don't know. I don't know enough to.
No.
I don't either.
No. I just said you said earlier about limiting yourself. I don't want to. If there's a way that, because I'm open for everything. So it's like, oh,
should be.
She saw me because I'm a Capricorn. Okay, well, cool. Because I went and did my research. I'm, Taurus are my thing. So it's like, have you done any of the research and
He likes the bull. Interesting.
See, so it's like
I have no idea what I'm cat about.
I had fun with it. I wasn't limiting myself. I did the research. What are good with Capricorn, man?
I think what's good with anybody is a healed person. Someone who has done the work to work through their past traumas to show up fully and authentically. You cannot be authentic if you have not done the self-work to know yourself and to actually understand where you need to be healed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell her 10 more minutes.
That's okay. Maybe.
We're almost at an hour.
Okay. So what other questions do we have?
Well, anything. What else do you want to talk about? Because I was going to say, is there anything else you would like to share or discuss? Is there anything you would like to discuss or like to share or anything else?
I wanted to know specifically about if you have any like past customers who can attest to the help you've given them, or like, I want to hear stuff like that. Like, what kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I want to hear what the guys who have, you know, been through your coaching and your help, what is their before, what's their after, what have you seen?
I wish I had some pictures to show before and after, but I'll read a review.
Absolutely.
I always solicit feedback from my clients, whether it be mid-client, like midway through the coaching practice, or whether it be later on saying, hey, can you reflect back on some of the things that you would like me to improve or how you feel like it's benefited you? So this is one gentleman I work with. He's 40. He might be 41 now, but this is what he wrote. When I met Alicia, I wasn't struggling with approaching women. What I was struggling with was something much deeper than that. The quality of women I was settling for. I knew I deserved something amazing, something special. Yet I was always rolling over relationship after meaningless relationship. In a matter of hours, she identified why I was settling so easily. Confronting these deep-rooted issues so quickly was difficult and emotional, no doubt. It was absolutely hard-hitting, yet amazing all at once. I honestly had never had anyone read me so well before. The man I knew that was there, and that underlying confidence was broken out in a matter of hours. Alicia isn't just a dating coach. She's a woman who will stroke that inner fire, invigorate the lion inside of you, and will show you why you are capable of so much more than you ever thought you could be. Joseph. Can I read one more?
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead. I was like, that's
I got questions after. Yeah, I want to hear that. Yeah.
So this is Bruce, who's 62, a very active 62-year-old.
In the bedroom, I think she's talking about.
I don't know.
Disclaimer. Hey.
I was not inferring that, but okay.
I mean, you said what else?
He's very
Exactive
active.
62-year-old.
He lives a great life. He plays pickleball and he plays competitive tennis and all of the things. Like, you know, he's very, very fun guy. Alicia has helped my dating life by making me a better man. Physically, she's teaching me the importance of yoga and a better diet. Fashion, I have a better wardrobe, and now I go out with so much more confidence and give women even an icebreaker to say, I like your shoes, or I love that shirt. I've never had that before. In knowledge, I have the confidence in knowing a little more about how women think and what women are looking for. Now I know that rejection isn't always about me, but what their situation might be at the time. I've always tried to be a good listener, but she has taught me how to not just listen to what is said, but also understand. Alicia is an absolute no shit, call you out type of woman. She wants you to improve and won't necessarily stroke your ego. I mean, how else do we get better? She will figure out things about you that you didn't even know and will give you an honest opinion about who she thinks you are. You can ask her anything, and I do mean anything, about anything that you want to know about what a woman wants, and she will help you navigate it. No topic is off limits when working with her. She will also give you so many more tools in your dating belt to navigate through this tough dating world. Good luck, guys and gals. She's one of the best investments you'll ever make in yourself.
Now, real quick, I didn't that part, but
That's really.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, helping these people finding a new them.
Yeah, purpose.
How does that make you feel, like, deep down? I know that has to be like,
Oh God, it calls to my soul.
yeah.
Oh my God. I can't even tell you. There's nothing, when someone says you've helped me, you have made me a better man. Honestly, it's not even me. I don't even feel like that. I feel like that's my purpose, and I get to do that with them because they're actually doing the work. I'm just facilitating it. But being able to be a part of that, it is such an honor. And I truly believe that it's an honor. And I really try to hold that space and actually say, okay, you're on the right path. When you feel like you're actually you're playing a part in someone's life that makes their life better, there's nothing that is like it. It's really the reason why I do anything and everything of what I do, because I know there's been so many people in my life that have done that. I've had some wonderful mentors, some wonderful people that have shown up when I really needed it. And, you know, sometimes they come to me at their depths when they're really in a lot of pain. And I get to help, like, that's when they are the most vulnerable. And I get to say, okay, I'm going to be someone that you can trust. And then I give them, you know, tools to actually help them get out of that. And so they're operating at their highest self.
I love that.
That's really deep.
So she giving acts of service. Your love language has to be acts of service.
It actually is one of them. Yeah.
You know yours.
You know what's funny is I think the more you get balanced, though, the more you appreciate like all of the different. You have some core ones that are like, okay, this is really what it is. But as you become more balanced and healed, I do believe that you actually encompass all of them. So like, I like gifts if they are personal. They show I was paying attention to you, not just something that, oh, this is what I like. It's I know that you like this.
Yeah.
Or I like words of affirmation, but it's not, oh, you look hot or whatever it is. It's I love how your mind thinks. That was really awesome. Something that it really shows that they know me and they're actually paying attention to who I am.
Right.
Oh, damn. That's really deep.
Do you know your love language? I don't know mine. That's why, so when you said that, I'm just...
Mine's giving. Is it giving, right?
Well, so everyone actually gives
giving?
and receives love in different ways.
I like to give gifts and then and then touch.
Okay, most men are touch.
Yeah.
Most men associate because, and I think a big reason for this is men are so starved for physical affection. So in other countries, this is another cultural thing that I noticed is that they will hold hands. Men will hold hands with each other.
I know
normal.
that. Yeah, it's normal.
All over Europe, it's a totally normal thing, and it's not considered.
Kiss my nose on the cheek. I love them. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
But how many times a day do you get a hug? Do men get hugs? Whereas women are naturally affectionate with each other. So men are so stinking starved for it. And so having touch to them is a huge differential. It's what differentiates a lot of that relationship from other relationships, which is why they need it so much.
That's why we get that high five hug all the time.
all the
High five hug. And you go,
yeah, I see it. I know it.
But I learned that from foreign countries. We had a guy I met. He was somewhere in Africa, and they hold pinkies together. Him and his bros.
Yeah.
And then when he came here, he was here for like a year or two. And then sometimes he reach out to these guys, and then I'm like, "What are you trying to
It has a totally different connotation. Yeah.
I was like, what are you trying to hold
You have to
pinkies
know your
for?"
audience, right?
But he was like with his group and everything else. But he's like, "Yeah, dude, this is how we just walk away casual. It's not, gay or anything else. It's just like, we're just showing, we're just bros and everything else. But it's like a different perspective and everything else."
Absolutely. Yeah. And another thing too, so this is a little bit of a tangent, but knowing your audience is one of the key things that I feel like is missing in the dating world, is that we all approach everything from our own perspective, from our own paradigm. So guys will slip into someone's DMs with a hi, trying to break the ice. But if you are approaching a woman who gets 20 messages a day in her DMs, how does that differentiate you from someone else?
And it's pretty common. So
All the time.
Yeah, I try not to slide in DMs or do what.
You can.
But you look at the comments and you see everyone, oh, hard eyes. How can I? Because I agree with you. It's like if 20 people comment on your page and we all saying the same thing, how do you know which one really wants to, kind of be with you?
So I'm good at reading people, and which is probably what makes me good at my job. But a big thing is, so a pretty woman gets that all the time. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so gorgeous, blah, 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 blah. Or they'll get a hi. Well, that's all generic. That's all what she gets all the time. So what's a way that you can actually approach her via text or in Bumble or IG or whatever it is?
you can say your hair's looking a little rough.
You could say that. You could say that.
I think I smelt you the other day. That'd be a very good one.
No.
I'm trying.
I don't generally advise with an insult, but
Hey, I heard sometimes it works.
sometimes it can.
Well, they're probably
Really want a woman who's going to respond
broader
to
than that. No, they're
What's
probably
time to
toxic.
Respond to that, right? So what a way that you can actually go into her DMs is actually pay attention to her page, what it is that she posts about, what is her mantra. Now, first of all, a red flag is if a woman has a page full of selfies and that's all she has, she shows nothing else, or that's just bad. Like, no. You need to see, like, if a woman doesn't have female friends, I always say a red flag is a woman who doesn't have female friends, because they need that. Now, it's fine if they have male friends. That's totally fine. I'm someone who is like that, obviously, especially with my career.
But you have female friends.
But I have a lot of female friends, and boy, do I cherish those relationships. They are so important in calling me out when I need it. I mean, there's nothing like that. And so, pay attention to her profile. What is the message that she is trying to send? And say, I noticed something really interesting about your profile. That will solicit a response. Then you have an open conversation. versus a shut door, you're a basic dude, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So it takes effort.
guys be writing these tips down.
Yeah, I hope
real.
you guys are
Don't be
listening.
lazy.
I hope you're listening. She's giving game for free. There's gentlemen that have to pay for this. She's giving it
That's
to us
true.
for free. Come on, listen up. Get your notepads out.
And it's interesting because guys are like, well, I'm just tired of the games or whatever. But I'm like, this is a game. Life is a game.
Right.
How do you want to play it? Do you want to play intelligently or do you want to play in a lazy way? Because if you're approaching it from a lazy perspective, you're going to get a lazy woman.
Mm-hmm.
But why would you want that as your partner? Because your partner will be your what?
I might be.
They will be and it's so true because who you choose as your partner, and this is statistically proven across the board, is they will be your breathtaking connection to success or they will be your deepest destruction.
Mm-hmm.
You have a choice. So how do you want to enter this dating game?
I see that because a lot of millionaires or people in the high business, once they have a perfect woman that does everything for them, they succeed 10 times forward.
Absolutely.
Because
they will magnetize you and propel you in a way that you never could have without that, because they are your mirror and they are the ones that say, this is how I know you.
And they humble you when you come home.
Yes.
They help guide you in anything else.
Yes.
And those perspectives,
they're your everything.
I think Alex Hermosi was talking about this too, when he was at his lowest and his girl was still with him at his lowest.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they went sky high. And then I see some other guys who were just making millions. He was telling his story. He's like, once I found my wife, I became 10 times higher now.
Yep. Women will fall in love with character.
And then it becomes like, it's their drive, and then they have a purpose.
Yes, absolutely.
That humbles them.
Yep. When a man has a purpose and they have the character to support it, that is what a woman will trust, because they will believe in the vision that's there. Mm-hmm. That's what a healed woman will trust. So a woman who comes from poverty or something like that, she may only want a provider, and that may be something that she needs to work through. So she will only go for someone who's very wealthy versus someone who has the vision of it. And I also think too that if a man is not able to actually provide for a family, and this is where you kind of get into some of that gold digger type mentality, is if a man can't be that, if they can't be a father figure, if they can't be a husband, why are you dating him? And so it's not that they're gold diggers, it's that they want someone who's going to be stable, who is going to provide that life for them. Doesn't mean that they're not going to play a role in it. That doesn't make him a gold digger to want that. They're not trying to take your money. They're trying to know that you are going to be a safe person to build a life with.
Right.
I know that's really connection. I mean, I know there's a bar next door that's trying to get out there. So let us know how people can find you, where they can find you at.
Go to my IG, which is my name, at alicia.m.justice, and justice spelled Justus. I have a website called navigatingvenus.com. And usually the best way is on IG, though, because I post a lot of what I do, a lot of things. I try to do things that cause you to think, in a different way. So, and if I can...
Any little tips you want to give out?
You can leave the especially the guys who think nice.
Give a tip for the guys.
Finish last. What's your parting gift, especially for free? You guys, what's your parting gift to these gentlemen listening in and wanting to? Because I know some guys who think, they're the nice guy who's not ever going to get a shot. But it's like, like you said, you opened me up. They're probably too passive with stuff, and no one wants that. No, they
know yourself.
Exactly. Okay.
Know yourself. When you know yourself, you know the value that you have to offer the world. And when you know the value that you have to offer the world, that gives you a sense of confidence that you can't have outside of that. And so when you show up fully, you're being authentic, and you will solicit authentic behavior from other people. You being in your masculine and knowing that, and being a healed person, being able to step into that role, you will magnetize the feminine in other women, and they will be attracted to that. You can have what you desire, but you have to be the man worthy of attracting that.
Well,
I'm not. I don't.
You heard it here.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to end. A lot of people. Oh my gosh. I appreciate for real just the lessons. I got you follow now too. I'm gonna be watching you and what you're doing, because what you're doing, especially because a lot of men don't really know how. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to call it a cheat code, but you're a woman, helping them with women. So it's like, you know what women are looking for. So it's like for you to even, do these kinds of acts of service and help out, help out people. I really do just appreciate it for real. And
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
God, no, this has been wonderful. Yeah.
We definitely have to do it again because I feel like we can have more deer.
yeah, we didn't even get to a lot, but this bar wants to open up and it's okay. But no, you are just a special human being. I just,
thank you.
It's like
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
there's a lot of people who don't know what they want to do, and you are locked in. I'm hearing you. That's why I was locked in hearing you talk, because you are just so I appreciate passionate people who care about what they're doing and what they want to do and helping people getting through what is hindering them. So
Yeah.
I have to give you these are my flowers to you. I couldn't let you leave or end the episode without just letting me tell you, because it's hard for real, especially in this era. I myself am scared. It's, the dating apps and all this, everything's changed and stuff. So it's like, it's harder. It's a little more nerve wracking to I'm swiping on this app. What if this girl doesn't like basketball? I love sports, as you'll never know. And then how do we get to the point of,
So what if this is the thing I'll add on. A friend of mine told me when I was going through a breakup quite a few years ago, she goes, I was getting back out in the dating world, and she goes, are you going to lead with love or are you going to lead with fear? Because we don't do things with an absence of fear, but when you choose to focus on doing things out of love, the fear becomes insignificant.
Oh, damn.
I mean, everything is, because I don't want to keep going and then go again. You just ended off nice. I'm not saying nothing.
Well, any shout outs you want to give out? Your Instagram or social?
Instagram, Smitty Vibes. I'm kind of like her with the acts of service. I like making people laugh. Check out my funny videos. I hope if I make you laugh, shoot a follow. If not, I got to work harder. But also shout out to you for even, having
this.
And Status, please. I've been waiting for him to just let me try Status.
Today we're drinking our strawberry.
My mom would love that.
Yeah, so we
I'll
have
have to get a bottle for her.
I finished my cup. It's really that good. I'm not even trying to advertise because he's here. I've been wanting to try. I'm a wine guy, so I love it. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for having me. This has been
Thank
wonderful.
you, Anthony.
Absolutely.
And then thank you for watching The Company, where we have good company at the company.
I love it.
See you later.